Hi there. Welcome to the podcast. Welcome to episode 35 of Hoopinions. Lavine is not la number one. My name's Harry.
My name's Ben. We're back again with another week. Do you want to just kick us off?
I just want to say quickly to my mum who listens to this podcast and my girlfriend, we might be back in the studio next week. I just want to throw out there that your car's broken. We're too lazy. I'm too lazy to go get you from your place to bring you here. So that's why we've been going remote. So just a heads up, everyone, that hopefully next time we should be back in the studio, both of us on lovely, lovely mics.
Yeah.
But
yeah, my car is pretty terrible on the road, just like the Golden State Warriors. So yeah.
Oh, that was a good one. Well, I think we've started with Golden State. So first off, have you ever seen a defending champion be in the negative the year after?
Yes, only when they trade away their key players. I think after like LeBron era, kind of, when they got rid of him, although he still stayed around, played the Warriors for a bit longer. So yeah, unless they trade all their pieces away, not really. But the Warriors have run it back, locking in a lot of their key guys with big contracts too.
They're 15 wins and 18 losses.
Yeah,
isn't that wild?
Which currently puts them at 11th in the West. I think it's safe to say no one would expect them to have dropped off this steeply. You can expect a couple games here and there, but overall, just not performing the way they should be. I think we just mentioned quickly on the road. That's a thing that jumped out at us initially was the current road record. They're currently 3-16, which is worse than the entire league on the road.
That's even the Rockets have 3. They're 3 from 13.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that playing away, obviously, like you have the home court advantage when you're playing at home, on a team that is very reliant on 3-point shooting? Do you think like that can get them out of rhythm playing away, or?
I just look, Clay. I don't look, honestly. I don't look. I don't know. But this obviously without Curry, like everything runs through Curry. So
yeah.
not having Steph, but like even today, like how did they think they were gonna win? They had DiVincenzo out, Jermichael Green was out, Clay was out, Andrew Wiggins was out, Curry was out, and Igloo was out. Which,
yeah,
like what they had, maybe Jordan Poole, but then Jordan Poole decided to go 4 from 17. Which and this is the craziest thing, right? The standout for the game against the Nets. Sorry, I'm talking about the game against Brooklyn, where they got absolutely stomped, 143 to 113. Their best player of the night was James Wiseman.
Yeah, which is crazy because we were just talking about him a couple of weeks ago, demoted down to the G League for a bit of development, wasn't doing that well there. But yeah, comes back and drops 30.
Which I think so. There's two levels of concern here. One is that the Brooklyn Nets couldn't stop someone that got demoted to the G League to get reps in. I think that's a pretty big issue in itself, is the fact that like how the hell did James Wiseman get 30 points?
I mean, all I can say is the game plan shifted. Lock down the 3, let them get the 2s inside, because the Nets hit 21 threes as opposed to only 12 from the Warriors. So I think they're like, yeah, 2's worth less than 3. You can have as many inside looks as you want. That could be part of it, but.
So and then obviously so the Nets weren't stopping Wiseman, but like it's great that Wiseman had a big game, but
yeah.
How were Golden State going to win this game? Who was supposed to step up?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, they had a lot of their key players out, notably Curry, obviously the biggest one, and Wiggins as well. Yeah, I think at this point it's kind of just like damage limitation. Hang in there, and hopefully, Clay as well. Bring them back. But I think as a season as a whole, it's concerning too, because they have had most of their guys for most of the games in the season. But yeah, especially on the road in particular, just not been performing well. So yeah, and I don't think it's going to get any better at the moment as well if they haven't got their guys. So can we expect them to see them down with the Rockets soon?
This team, like at the way they're going, is going to be fighting for a play-in spot, which has happened before.
Yeah.
but
not off the back of a championship win. Well, actually, last time they were in a playoff spot, I think it was, or they were not even close to the play-ins, maybe straight off their other win with injuries. But yeah, I mean, I think so far our board of Hoopinions predictions, I think I said that they just squeezed into the play-in, so I'm looking not too bad on that call so far.
jeez, I'm glad I didn't put anything on that, because these guys, like, surely, like, look, with Curry coming back soon, like it says on the injury report that he's not going to require surgery, but is expected to be sidelined closer to a month. But I guess do they have a little bit less games during the Christmas break? They ease off a little bit with the schedule, don't they?
I think it's a little less packed, yeah. Like, they still have Christmas Day games and things like that, but I think it's a tiny bit less packed. So maybe that could be beneficial for them just while they're recuperating some of the players. But it's still not going to be that easy. I think their upcoming games, they've got Memphis, which should be a pretty tough one. That's the day after Christmas. They've got a few easy ones with like the Hornets and Jazz. Well, the Jazz are pretty on fire. But yeah, it's not looking like the easiest stretch. So we'll have to see how they go over the next few games.
It's just, if you were telling me that like the Golden State were going to be trying to hold on until, like, it's just doesn't, like, it's just wow. I'm really lost for words that how badly the Golden State Warriors are struggling. They just can't seem to get this group of people to click together.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously there was a controversy, I guess, pre-season, which obviously doesn't help if the internal issues ruining team chemistry.
I think
so that kind of plays into it.
I honestly do think they've moved past that, but obviously that didn't help things.
Yeah, I think that's it's obviously something they can move past, and I think they have, but it still just goes to show that issues can happen even in some of the teams that look like they have the absolute best chemistry in the league. Because I think the Warriors definitely seem like that on their championship run. So yeah, I think it's look, not too early to write them out of things, because we are only about 20 something, call it 30 games into the season, absolute tops. So there's time, but
yeah,
it's looking a little concerning.
But like we've talked about, though, this isn't a championship winning win-loss ratio.
No, definitely not, especially on the road, because if you're in a 7-game playoff series on the road for that last game 7 or whatever, you have to be performing just as well, and they're not doing that at the moment.
They're doing terrible, absolutely shocking. Talking about teams that we think, or I think at least, should be doing better. Have you heard about the recent issues with the Bulls?
No, I haven't. You'll have to enlighten me.
Oh, wow. Let me enlighten you. Apparently, when the Bulls lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves, which were missing, by the way, Gobert and Karl Anthony Towns, which the Minnesota Timberwolves have been very up and down recently.
Yeah.
Like, I just want the Minnesota Timberwolves to work it out. I think they've got the personnel. They've just got to get the schematics right. But anyway, the Chicago Bulls got absolutely blown, 150 to 126 from the Timberwolves.
The Timberwolves, without their two bigs, they're dropping 150 on you.
Exactly. And so apparently after that, multiple Bulls players directed frustration at Zach Lavine. When asked about the incident, Bulls head coach was like, hey, confrontation is healthy, but clearly things are not clicking. I think, which is weird because they seem to be doing pretty well last season, but and apparently this report also claimed that Lavine had a one-on-one with DeMar DeRozan in an attempt to hash things out. But it really does sound like there's some disconnect with Lavine and the rest of the squad. And I think some of it has to do with Lavine, in my opinion, is used to being the man. Like, he used to be the only guy that was worth anything on the Bulls. And now they have a lot more talent. There's a lot, you've got DeMarvelous. I love DeMarvelous. You've got Vooch, Caruso. Hopefully you have Ball coming back soon from injury. There's a lot more sharing that needs to go along, and it's no longer the Zach show.
Yeah, because there are definitely those few years when he got traded over from Minnesota that he was really the only like main talent on the team, kind of just
Yeah.
dragging them to grab a few wins. But yeah, now it's a pretty I guess not stacked team, but they have a lot of options. So are we pretty much hearing that, like, because it's a big call when they single out a player. A lot of the time they kind of just go, oh yeah, like whatever, it's a team thing and it's subtle. But when they're calling out a single player, that's, I think, a big red flag. I was quickly looking at his stats because I was wondering if he's like had a particular drop off. Not so much, like a little bit. He's down to 21 points down from 24 last season, but
I think
it's a crazy drop off.
I think it's the play style, because Zach, I think, is honestly, like, as much as like everyone wants to be like ISOing and stuff, but at the moment DeRozan is a better ISO player than Zach. So that means that DeRozan will be taking more of those shots, and Zach desperately wants to do things off the dribble, when if he just focused a little bit more on, I don't want to say catch and shoot guy, I think Zach has more to offer than just being a catch and shoot guy. But at the same time, I think there's times where he's trying to do more than what he needs to be doing. Yeah,
I can see that, because I mean, look, he's had some great moments, great plays where he just dominates and takes over, but I'd agree with that. I think DeRozan is the better. If he had to run an ISO play, that's more him. And Lavine, honestly, is a great 3-point shooter. I think, like you said, shouldn't be only like spot up, but he's certainly thriving at that. He's across his career averaging at least like 36, 37, 38% around that mark, which is pretty efficient. So I can see that causing conflict if he really could be playing a better role.
And it's also just like his defense is not great either.
No strong point.
He's a lot of firepower, which, you need firepower, but, Caruso can't, cover you for everything.
Yeah.
And
the big issues in terms of, if you're not getting back on D, like he's, there's only so much you can bring to the offensive end to counteract that. So, defensively, I guess that is, I think, a touchy point for teammates, because that's something everyone should be committing to.
So so I and there's a lot of rumors going around about blowing this team up, and honestly, I'd really like to not see this team blow up, but they're just underachieving.
Yeah, and I think it doesn't help that last season they, I think, arguably overachieved. They brought in all these pieces, so you'd expect better results, but I think they were really dominant for a patch, and so they looked like, oh wow, this team's actually crazy, and then kind of dropped back down a little bit. But I think now the expectations are quite high, but even if you adjust for a bit more realism, they're still not even hitting that. They're sitting 11th at the moment, 13 and 18, so not even like a base level in terms of performance this season.
Yeah. And look, some of it definitely has to do with Lonzo Ball being out, which, listen to this. This is horrible. So Bulls head coach Billy Donovan said Sunday, I don't know which Sunday, but I'm assuming it's a recent Sunday, that Ball's knee is progressing towards running.
Ooh,
towards running.
That's slow progress.
But the point guard remains without a timetable to do that activity. NBC Sports Chicago reports. Like, just what a freak! Something's up with Lonzo, and it's pretty serious.
Yeah, that's actually really horrible news to hear, because you'd hope that he'd be progressing quite well, getting to a lot closer point. But the fact he's not even up to running yet, that's concerning. So, speedy recovery to him. That's not good news.
That was 15 hours ago, and Lonzo's been off almost the whole off season as well. I think he had surgery, but it's just, there's more news saying Bulls, seeing improvement in repaired knee. So he had to have a second knee surgery about 3 months ago, which we're a big fan of Lonzo Ball. We've always thought he's had a lot of potential, but this knee injury seems to be completely derailing him. Which is
obviously derailing the Bulls as well, because they could really be benefiting from him at the moment.
Use some defense and someone to pass the rock around for them, I think.
Yep. Yeah, run the offense a bit better, get Zach into good position. So, not good news for the Bulls. I guess realistically, can you see them blowing it up? Obviously, I think I'd like to see it as well. I think I'd like to see this team stick together, but
It depends. Look, like because like the Bulls have kind of already blown it up a couple of times since the Jordan days. I do think they've got a good squad. On it, like I do think there's potential. I think a lot of it rests a bit on Lonzo coming back. I think he was kind of that last defensive playmaking bit of glue that really helped them all stick together.
yeah,
I would like for them to give it one more season, or see if this off season they could make one or two more. I don't want to say desperate moves, but see if they could make any more moves to make it a possibility.
yeah. That's fair. I mean, if they do decide to blow it up, they're not entirely out of the tank for Wembanyama phase. So they might just be able to squeeze in there if they lose every single game for the rest of the season.
So look, yeah, they could. That's the thing. They're only half a game behind 10th. So like play-ins are still achievable for them, but they've got to get it together.
Yep, for sure.
And they're behind the Raptors, who are just absolutely not looking like anything that they're normally like. So be interesting.
Very inconsistent. I mean, Siakam dropped like 52 career high.
But
just
the
today, I
rest of
think
the
it
team
was.
doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
So
true.
I think it'll be interesting to see, depending, like about halfway through the season, if any teams decide to switch to sellers. Because obviously,
It'll be
like
interesting. 'Cause at the moment, there's a lot up in the air. I think a lot of teams are very close, but I think if they're, because not many games separating teams at this point, but if they're not seeing potential, we could see mid-season reconstruct. So
we'll have to see. Like there's a couple of teams that have some good players that aren't doing well. We'll have to see if they blow it up.
True.
Lakers fans, I need to apologize to you.
Boy.
Not that because you guys suck. That's already a well-known fact that the Los Angeles Lakers suck. I'm sorry that I ever talked about Anthony Davis.
The curse of Hoopinions struck twice. We initially talked about how fragile he is. Then he goes on an absolute tear, drops like 40 points, 30 points, 40 points, 50 points. And then we called him out for like, oh, he's actually on a tear. And then he goes and injures himself.
Yep. Now his ankles I'm heartbroken. Anthony Davis was on an absolute tear. Looked like the New Orleans Pelicans Anthony Davis was like absolutely unstoppable. And now he's got an injured right foot and is expected to miss at least a month.
Yeah, hopefully he's back sooner than that for Lakers fans' sake and just for everyone's sake, because it was really entertaining to watch. But yeah, curse of Hoopinions, what can we say? It happened again.
Yeah, it's really sad. I'm honestly heartbroken because I want to see people win. I want to see play, win, ball out. We'll admit, like, we were really worried about Anthony Davis, and then he came up and was just like whamma jam, slamming it down, made us look like a bunch of idiots, and now we like, I told you so.
Yeah,
he's fragile.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully he's back soon, and more importantly, let's see if he can stay healthy. If the Lakers can somehow adjust, make it work, so there's just less chance of him getting injured. Because at this point, it's so frequent. So it doesn't look good.
Talk to me about the Knicks. I don't watch the Knicks that often. They're trash, but apparently, according to you, they're doing pretty good.
Yep, I wanted to shout out because I like to keep a bit of variety, talk about different teams, and I got to shout out the Knicks while they're doing well. So they're 8-2 in the last 10 games. They're up to 6th now in the East, and honestly, looking semi decent. In terms of their last games, they've actually faced a few. Like they've had a few easier matches, but they've beaten teams like the Cavs, beat the Bulls twice in a row, beat the Warriors, although that's not saying much at the moment. But so they've had a slightly easy, last 10 games, but they are starting to bring things together. I guess it's kind of a bit of a rhetorical question, but do you think they can hang in there if they can stay in the playoff bracket?
Absolutely not.
It's a bit savage, but I tend to agree. So Yeah, it's a bit of a shame because the next year they brought in Brunson, paid him reasonable amount. They also now just got penalised for tampering with that Brunson deal, so they've lost their 2025 second round pick, I think it was. So you'd hope that they'd be doing well with Brunson in after everything they've gone through to get him. But yeah, I tend to agree. I think it's a bit of a kind of a freak last 10 games. We'll see if they can stick in there, but I don't think so.
Let's break it down, right? They've won what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row before losing to the Raptors.
Yep.
Which pretty good. Yeah, sorry, 8 and 2. Yeah. Sorry, I should have looked at the notes. But let's have a look at okay, beating the Cavs. That's pretty good. I'll give them a impressed. Hawks, that's okay.
Yeah, Hawks are kind of middle of the road team at the moment.
Yeah.
So.
Hornets, not impressed that they beat the Hornets. Not that impressed that they beat the Kings. Sorry, Kings. And then they've beat the Bulls twice, which with how they're playing, I'm not that concerned. I'm not that impressed or concerned, really. They beat the Pacers and they beat the Warriors. So while it's impressive to be like, oh yeah, they won 8 in a row. It hasn't been against great teams.
No, that's been a relatively easy stretch. In terms of their guys as well, I mean, Jalen Brunson's having an okay season, 20 points a game, 6.5 assists. I don't know. I feel like I'd be expecting a little bit more from him, dare I say. This is the best season of his career, so don't get me wrong. He's up from 16 points with Dallas last season. But, I mean, he got given a pretty solid bag. He's gone to a team that don't really have a ton of stars. He's kind of there to be one of the leaders there. I thought I'd be expecting a little bit more from him. Julius Randle's averaging 22.5. RJ Barrett's kind of contributing still a little bit with 19.5. But it just seems like they're accruing pieces that are kind of mid. They don't really make any big moves.
Isn't it typical New York to overpay for someone that... Look, I love Jalen Brunson.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson. Yeah.
I got it. I got there. I got there. I'm sorry, Brunson. Look, and here's the thing, right? He's a fantastic starter number 2, but I think they overpaid for him. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't think New York's just really good at getting good, it's they've got all these good pieces, but they don't fit very well together.
Yeah, kind of like a mismatched jigsaw.
Yeah.
Individually the pieces would work well. I think also part of it, we should also remember back to when they're expecting to get Donovan Mitchell. I reckon if they picked him up, they'd have some decent pieces around him, so that would have been an okay team. But I guess missing out on him going to the Cavs, that's kind of a big blow. But yeah, like you said, decent pieces, but not quite putting it together. Mitchell Robinson, great defender. A couple of young guys, quickly Grimes. They've got pieces, but they don't have the difference maker. And Jalen Brunson stepped up and done that.
And I think they paid for a difference maker when they tried to get when they paid for him when they got Brunson, but he's always got potential to go off. But I don't see him as someone to step up and be that consistent number 1 person.
Yeah, that's fair. But anyway, shout out to the Knicks, who are at least doing okay. We don't think it can continue. Maybe that's something we can put on the board. Knicks will definitely not make the playoffs, but I don't know.
They might make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll go out of the first round.
Oh yeah, they won't make it past the first round. I'd go so far as to say, will I make a big call? Yeah, I'm going to say the Knicks don't even make the playoffs. I think that maybe Hawks, Heat, and stuff will improve. I'd say they're playing team maybe. So,
okay. You can back it up if you want.
I'm just going to go with a soft call here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and talking about the Hoopinions curse, but the Pelicans, after we hyped them up so much last week, have now lost 4 in a row.
Yep. Notably, back-to-back losses to the Utah Jazz, who are meant to be tanking. So, yep. The curse strikes again. What can we say? How does this keep happening?
I don't think we just can't talk about anything good. Because we wreck everything.
Yep. So we got to start being more negative. So then good stuff happens out in the NBA season.
Screw the Pelicans.
In their defense, they played the Bucks. They played Phoenix, who also kind of shaky team, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, they beat Phoenix back to back too. So I was expecting maybe a trifecta, which would have been pretty crazy. But I mean, look, we can't complain too much. They're still sitting in third. So they're still looking good. Only a game behind first.
How
but
wild!
Not consistent.
How wild is the West? The top 6 are all within 2 games of each other.
So crazy! Oh my goodness! And only 4 games all the way down to 10. But
this is
2 games of the top 6.
This is just insane. I cannot get over how entertaining this is.
It's so good. Like every game, every second game, there'll be a new first place, which is we should call this episode the Wild West, to be honest. But oh man, it's just entertaining, and this is what I want to see. I feel like the NBA hasn't been. We say it every year. It's getting more and more close, but I don't think I've seen a season like this close, like literally neck and neck through what we're like a third of the way through the season already. So yeah, it's great to watch.
If we can keep this up till the end, like it could literally come down to the last game or the last couple of games to see who would be at home or who's even in the top 4. Like this could be the most exciting season of all time.
Yeah, and I mean, even if it's not deciding who gets into the playoffs, even if it's playoff seeding, like Pelicans and Suns at the moment, right next to each other. Imagine if that series where like they compare their record against each other, which happened to like I think the Pelicans and OKC one year, record against each other comes down to like literally how they played those 3
wins and losses and
for and against. It makes the beef even better. So it's juicy.
It would be I'm just loving this. It's absolutely insane. It's a lot of fun to watch. I keep going. The Cavs won today.
Yes, Cavs beat the Bucks, was it? Yeah. Which is a little maybe preview of the top of the East, which is exciting to watch. We were saying before that unfortunately the Bucks are without Middleton, I believe, again, which is a bit of a blow. They did get him back for a few games, back out again, but they're still doing well. Did
you see him get that? I think he got ejected for hitting someone in the nuts. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, that was pretty funny.
He nut-shotted someone and then got ejected. It was so.
It
was great.
He also got knocked down at one point, grabbed onto, I can't remember who it was, but grabbed onto someone's leg as they're running down the court. So he's come back a little wild, to be honest.
Maybe he's been a bit pent up frustration, maybe. But yeah, it was the trip was a little dirty.
It was a bit, yeah. I mean, there's getting tangled in, there's grabbing, so yeah.
Yeah.
But having said that, I mean, the Bucks are sitting first in the East currently. The Celtics actually have dropped first place, currently on a 3-game losing streak, and notably with 2 back-to-back losses to the Magic. I don't know who scheduled this season, but there have been so many like back-to-back games with the same teams playing each other, which is, I don't know, kind of exciting. I guess it makes more sense like travel-wise, unless you're playing at each other's venues.
I like it because then it's like it's less traveling, and then like you get to play one game, and then you get to adjust for the next game. So that's why I think it's even wilder that Boston lost twice.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, all right, I can actually get behind the scheduling thing real quick because like the back-to-back Phoenix and Pelicans games were in the same arena, back-to-back Utah in the same arena. So yeah, shout out to less emissions.
Exactly. Yeah, less plane travel. Let them do a couple of games. But with those Magic games, like one of them was like the Magic won 117 to 109, which is pretty. Yep. That's a pretty big gap. And then the next one, they just lost a complete slogfest, 95 to 92.
Yeah, not even a triple-digit game, which is getting rarer and rarer these days.
Which can we mention that even when the Golden State got absolutely blown out, they still got to triple digits.
Yeah. Yeah, this is an absolute, like you said, slugfest, really. Shout out to Paolo Banchero, because in that game, I think he hit career high in threes. He drops 6 from 7 from 3, 31 points, which I think is the most for a rookie in the Magic in quite a long time or ever. But yeah, the Celtics just kind of disappeared.
He's averaging 21 points a game, which for a rookie is pretty good.
Yeah, 7 boards as well. That's what I'd be expecting. And I think at the moment, on course for Rookie of the Year, I made the call that Benedict Mathurin would be up there, but maybe not.
Did I say Banchero? I'm pretty sure I said Banchero.
You said,
there's no way. With the way he's going, I don't think anyone's close.
Yeah. No, he looks like he's pretty much lined up the award already. But I reckon this is a little the other side to the story. I mean, the Celtics consistency was looking great. It's kind of dropped off a bit, but this is also props to the Magic too, because I feel like we've already mentioned previously, but they've got such a young, exciting roster. They have been firing on all cylinders some games. Bol, Mo and Franz Wagner, Markel Fultz, all these guys going off. So it's exciting to watch, especially when they can take down the finals East champions back-to-back games.
I think the Magic are a very interesting team. They still don't have a win. Like they're 12-21 though. They're not. Not winning games. This team is a worse mismatch of people than the Knicks are.
I don't know if it's a mismatch. They're just rebuilding. The Knicks, I feel like they're trying to contend. They're signing players and stuff. The Magic is just rebuilding at this point.
How many times are they going to rebuild?
Well, it has been a very long rebuild. They've got lottery picks multiple times in a row. But I also have to point out too, because these guys are actually missing a fair few players. I think Jalen Suggs is still out injured. I think Gary Harris is still out injured. This is off the top of my head. So they are missing a few of their key players. Jonathan Isaac, I think, is out. If all these guys were healthy, I still think it's too early to see them as a playoff team. But they've got a lot of potential. I think.
Could they make... Oh, I was going to say, could they make the play-ins? But no, I don't think so. Not with 12.
I mean, with a fully healthy roster, maybe. I think it'd be borderline, because, I mean, Brancaro's balling out. I mean, even Franz Wagner, absolute baller. He's, give him a few more years, he's going to be on fire. He's averaging pretty much 20 at the moment, only in his second year. So, I don't know, man. I think this team, I don't think they should be rebuilding any further. I think any more lottery picks, and that's too much. I think this is their last season to develop. They have so many pieces, they should be performing going forward. So I reckon next season, hopefully, we'll see that.
Yeah, it's at what point do they need to start performing?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, I think they've got the personnel. I think it's just time. I mean, Cole Anthony, Wendell Carter Jr. They've got so many young guys. So I think we could almost look back and see this roster and go, wow, that was stacked. Hopefully in a few years' time we see the potential. So, yeah.
So the Clippers had a great game. Oh, look, they were up against the Hornets, so it's not that much of a achievement. But the Clippers had a nice game against the Hornets, winning 126-105. And everyone kind of got a bit of the pie. Leonard was in, Paul George played. Everyone, if you look at the plus minuses, everyone on the starting five played really well. Leonard played 31 minutes, which is pretty good.
Yeah, he's getting a decent run time.
He's starting to ramp up a bit. So, do you think that this is the thing, right? The LA Clippers have managed to stay fifth, or at least in the top 8 pretty easily, without Paul George and Kawhi Leonard being in the lineup as much as I think they'd hope. Do you think that this could sort of be a late or a half season push for the Clippers? Could they continue the climb and work into a bit more of a contendership situation? Are they in a contendership situation at the moment, being 19-14 and a game and a half behind?
I mean, yeah, they are tracking in the right direction. I think, like we said before, the odds are Vegas odds still that they're top team in the West, according to that, which I haven't seen personally. But I mean, I think just if they manage it well, I think any big injury will kind of be like that domino falling, and then the chain reaction, and then it all falls apart. I think as long as they can keep PG and the Claw both in there, because come playoff time, that's when those guys are going to be clutch for the season. Yeah, it's going to be the other guys who just kind of keep him afloat. Batum, Kennard, even John Wall and things like that. So, I feel like I've never really been that hype on the Clippers, but the potential is there. I
They've
think just
they've
managing it.
always had potential. It's just never seemed to mesh when they need it to.
Yeah,
They've always struggled to get over adversity.
yeah. I think the biggest thing for me is that they've got a championship team, but there are just so many other stacked West teams. I
Oh,
think that's the thing. Like if you look at them in isolation, yes, their team is pretty stacked. Looking at even Powell off the bench, Roko off the bench, like they've got tons of guys that they've got depth, but yeah, just looking at the other stacked West teams, I'm like, oh, I don't know.
I think that's the thing, and it's like, and as we've mentioned previously, like they have run into issues where because Kawhi Leonard and Paul George are in and out of the lineup so much, when things get tough and you're expecting them to take over, they just haven't got those reps in.
Yep, exactly. And I think consistency. Like whilst the season games aren't the be all and end all, I think the just getting the like you said, getting the reps in, having that team chemistry when it comes to the playoffs, I think that's important. So just we'll have to see how they go. But they're honestly tracking better than I thought. So
So
not too bad.
the 76ers are on a 6-game win streak. I think
Yep.
we keep talking smack about Doc Rivers, and Doc Rivers hurt us. But but in defense, no, not in defense, but despite that, it's not. It's similar to the Knicks. These aren't the best teams that they've got their streak on. Pistons, Raptors, Warriors. You know what? I'll give them you beat the Kings. Kings are playing pretty good at the moment. That's good. Hornets are give me. Lakers are give me. So of the 6, 1, maybe 2, if you give like half an impressy spaghetti to the Warriors and half an impressy spaghetti to the Kings, we'll give you your
Never heard
2.
that before.
It's
Yeah.
a half.
So
It's a half an impressy. Not a
it's
full.
not the toughest schedule for that 6-win streak. But I mean, look, the I think the big takeaway for me is that they're not dropping these games because we did
Yes.
see them lose to teams like the Rockets and stuff, and they were looking shaky. They were not looking good. So
They
the fact
were.
that they're at least getting these wins they should be getting is encouraging because playoff teams, championship teams, they don't drop the ball that many times in terms of easy losses. So that's at least encouraging.
Yeah.
And Embiid, I think, has picked it up too. I mean, it helps playing
Yeah.
against easier teams, but he's now leading the league in points, if I'm not mistaken.
That is.
32.5 points a game. So, he's clicked into another gear too. This is kind of just like this is where they should be getting reps in, locking in those easy wins. So it comes to the tougher games, they've got wiggle room.
Who do you think is in the running for MVP at the moment?
Ooh, I think we put in our early locks, but man, the NBA keeps changing every week. This is tough. I think for me it still comes down to the actual team performance too. I will shout out that currently the Nuggets are in first, which always helps Jokic's case. He's still just stat wise, he's insane. He dropped like a video game stat line with his number of rebounds and points the other game too. I think Jokic is always up there for me. I think Embiid is dependent on how the Sixers finish. So I think that's up in the air. I think it's between like Giannis and Jokic maybe for me currently, just because the teams are both first and I can see them staying there. I can at least staying in that vicinity. Guys like Luka, who, I mean, individual performance is insane. Just touching on the Mavs, like they're only 9th currently in the West, which again we said how close it is. That can change very quickly. But I don't know. As a team, they're not performing as well as they should be. So I don't know if Luka quite has a good enough case unless he averages a quadruple double or something insane. So
and like does it every week. But he needs. I think at the bare minimum, he has to get out of the play-in.
Yeah, and then perhaps he has a case there. What about you? What are your picks currently?
Look, I think it's difficult because there's so many good players at the moment. That are like even like today, like so many people are getting like Siakam dropping a huge amount. There was all sorts of people just dropping bombs today. I think near the top you have to think about I don't think Kevin Durant. I don't think KD's getting enough love.
That's true.
I think he's been very consistently. He's averaging 30 points at the moment. We've mentioned Tatum. I think Giannis is up there. Not that, unfortunately, Giannis doesn't have the story behind him. I'm still waiting. Usually by now you can sort of start seeing that when the media starts pushing, like the MVP, winning the MVP, you got to have the story behind you, kind of thing.
Yeah, that does play into it. Yeah,
and I'm not really seeing like a forerunner at the moment for that, for a story like Giannis did when he won his two. So while Giannis on merit should be in the discussion, I don't think he has the backing. He's also won a championship, so that like sort of
not the underdog anymore. He's
the New York Yankees.
Yeah, I can see a good case for Tatum, assuming the Celtics do keep it together and play well, because losing last finals, you've got that like kind of revenge story, and him wanting to get that this time. So yeah, best player on that team would be him. So I could see that as an option. I think so. At the moment, we've got like people like Tatum, Giannis, Jokic. Even though he's too the reason why Jokic is still in discussion is because he absolutely carries his team and he gets his team wins, and every single statistic just shows that this guy's unstoppable. I think he wins out all the advanced statistics like crazy. He's just a super hard player to stop. He's gotten fitter recently the last couple of years. He looks really good. I think Morant is up there. KD. I also think that in discussion is like we've still got like Luka, who's just playing in crazy, but the Mavs are not performing as a whole. I think Zion could be in there as like sort of a sleeper pick. Yeah, I mean, if the Pelicans finish the season strong and end up, if it's even third as they are standing, I don't know, man. Yeah, I reckon Zion could be up there because he's been playing great.
And I think obviously Joel Embiid should be in discussion. He just, for whatever reason, people just don't. I think because he's very he's a bit like James Harden-esque. He falls / flops a lot. He shoots a lot of free throws. It takes away from the dominating that he does for 3/4 of the game.
I mean, he's still getting his points, but it doesn't have the same translation into like absolute dominance for MVP caliber, I suppose.
Whereas Joel Embiid just seems very I want to say soft, but he just falls over a lot. He doesn't look tough. Whereas like Jokic is averaging his 25 points on like lower free throw attempts and does so much around the court. Whereas and Embiid does okay around the court, but I don't know. It just takes away a little bit from the spectacle.
Yeah, I think Embiid's more of a pure scorer, whatever method he gets to do that. Whereas Jokic is impact in so many different ways. I think that's where he takes it for me. So. Yeah, I think it'd be crazy. Like, the thing is, I think Jokic still has a very strong case for MVP again, which would make it 3 in a row. It just sounds crazy like that because has he been 3 MVPs level ahead of everyone? Probably not. I think he's been just better than everyone consistently. So if you look back in years' time and you go, damn, this guy won 3 MVPs in a row, this guy must have been by far the best player in the league, which I don't think is the case. He's very solid and up there, but and you could argue that Embiid should have one of these MVPs, maybe.
But the problem is with the level of play that we have in the NBA right now, I don't think any of these guys are there's no clear Michael Jordan here. These guys have all kind of, I don't want to say they've hit the ceiling, but these guys are all at such a high level that realistically any of those names we've mentioned deserve / could win the MVP.
Yeah. I think if any of the guys that we mentioned ended up with it, I'm like, yeah, that's fair because so many of these guys are up there. So that's why it's tough to make a call, I suppose, because you could go, oh, Jokic already won 2, therefore he can't win a 3rd. I guess it seems more fair for multiple players to win it when they're all that close. But yeah, I don't know. I could still see Jokic winning another one. So
Have to see. Well, thanks for listening to episode 35. Lavine is not la number one. Give us some comments, like, subscribe, let us know. Do you think Lavine likes being number 2?
Yep. And do you think that the team can adjust, or if he's going to have to be shipped?
I hope so. I don't want him to blow it up. But
yeah.
Thanks for listening. Like and subscribe. Check out our TikTok. Check out our Instagram, which is in progress. Check out our YouTube. Much love, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.